Today's episode is saying the things that destroy your peace. So the goal here is to not say those things because we want to keep our peace. Okay. So maybe a story example will help out with this. So you're sitting down with your honey, your spouse, and things are fine and you feel all good and peaceful, and he grabs the remote because you guys are going to chill together, and he clicks onto YouTube, doesn't even consult you, and then starts watching whatever, and you're like, wait a minute. I'm like, excuse me, this is our time together and you're not even going to talk to me about this? That would be destroying your peace. Instead, I offer you a better solution in those situations or similar situations. Don't say it. Don't say anything. In fact, snuggle up to him tighter and be like, oh, he's watching something he wants to. Maybe it's something you don't even like. That is okay. It's okay to not like it. It's okay to not be into it at all in any way. Just snuggle up to him. Be glad you're spending time with him. And then when it's over, unless it's something super long, or if he was really excited to watch, I'm like, ooh, what's this? And he's just like, oh, I just feel like watching this. And I'm just like, okay, great. And then you can make a suggestion, just like, hey, after this, do you want to do a comedy, or I was really hoping to see this or whatever. And I'm just like, yes, he's more willing to be like, yeah, that sounds great, because you gave him no guilt or reason to create an issue, if that makes sense. Okay. So another situation, you're loading the dishwasher, things are going just fine. And then your spouse comes in and your spouse is like, there's a better way to do that. And you're like crawling inside. You're like, oh my gosh, do not tell me what to do, right? Do not tell me how I can load it. Fine, load it yourself, right? Don't say that. These are the things that are going to destroy your peace. They're going to be the first thing that comes up in you, the first emotion, irritation, all that stuff, right? But that doesn't mean you have to act on it or respond. It doesn't mean that. We're human, and yes, my alarm's going off. Sorry. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's the din in the background of my phone. So sorry about that. Don't say it. Don't do it. Instead, let that emotion come up, acknowledge it, take a deep breath and say, hey, we're not choosing that today. And then move it aside, swipe to the side. Ooh, okay. Swipe the mic off the counter. Anyway, move it to the side, okay? And choose the other way. Maybe you could say, this is going to sound sarcastic coming out. Oh, really? What's your way? Don't do that either. Can I say, really? All right. And if they my husband would be the type that just comes up and starts doing it. Here's what you do in that situation. If they do that, count that as a blessing. Be like, ooh, good. You just step back and you watch as they load it nicer. And you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. That is a good way. Thank you. And I appreciate your help too, because then, especially if they're starting to load some of the dishes, they've taken it off your plate. So see it that way, right? Or if they're just rearranging what you've done, that's irritating because you're like, oh, you're just wasting my time, right? First emotion that's going to come up is like, you're wasting my time. But don't say the thing that's going to destroy your peace. Let the peace be there. Swipe it to the side and say, no, I'm choosing peace today. Say, oh, thank you. That looks like a very efficient way to do it. And I appreciate your input. And then you continue to load the dishwasher when they walk away the way you want to. It doesn't mean you have to do it. And maybe later they'll come back and be like, you didn't appreciate my wisdom and you're still not loading it well. They may do that. And that's okay. Still, again, first emotion that comes up, don't have to act on it. Swipe it. Swipe it. Imagine in your head that it comes up and it's like a screen or on your phone and you're like, I don't like this. Swipe it away. Say, nope, I'm choosing peace today. And just like, Yeah, I know, but I've been doing it this way for a long time and it's just the habit I have. And then you're welcome to be like, you're welcome if you want, you're welcome to finish it, but don't do it in a snotty, sarcastic way. Well, you're welcome to finish it. See ya, right? Don't need to do that. And just you know what I mean? Cuz like I have a friend who, her husband, she started cleaning and she has a very particular way of cleaning. It's the same way that I like to clean. So I totally get it. And her spouse comes down one day, her husband comes down and he's just like, um, why do you do it like that? He's just like, you could do it this way instead. And she's like, you know, I've been doing this my whole life. And this is the efficient way that I was taught by my mother. And this is how I like to do it. But you are welcome to take over and welcome to do it. And then he never said anything again, right? Sometimes we do need those moments. Sometimes we do need to be like, hey, you know what? You're overstepping a line. No, right? But it can't be every situation. Do you know what I mean? Like waiting for the right time, the right mode. So you're not starting a war. There's no need for it. You want peace in your life? This is how you have it. Emotions come up. We are emotional creatures, women. We are emotional creatures. Men, in a different way, are emotional creatures, but they're very logical in their emotions. So when they say stuff, it's going to sound very brash and harsh because they're not overthinking. Well, if I say it this way, then Jenny might think that I mean she's this or she's fat. And if I say it this way, oh my gosh, Jenny might think that this, like, you know what I mean? We women, we overthink things. We're so worried about feelings. Men just like, I see this situation, I see this, and they just say it. They just say it. And so without the overthought, okay, we don't do that because we're like, we have these filters that are so thick and we think about everything and how to say it just right. There's special women out there that I admire so much that I try to be more like. They're just like, no, I'm just saying it, right? And they say it so well, they say it so sharp. But then there's also women out there that are mean and there's not good intentions behind it. And they just say it and they say it mean and they meant it mean, right? And that's not good either, right? And you don't need to buy into any of that. Okay. So back on track. Don't say the things that are going to destroy your peace, right? Sometimes we do need to stand up for ourselves, but we do need to do it in the right spirit, in the right energy. Okay. So if your energy is just like full of like anger or whatever, but if your energy is like, I want peace, but at the same time, this is important and I need to stand up for myself, and I'm going to say this because maybe it's going to hurt them. Maybe it is going to create a little bit of conflict, but it needs to be said. And you really feel strongly about it, not because you're angry or because you're being petty, but because this is something that this person needs to hear and you feel impressed to say it. Okay? I've actually been in that situation before. I didn't want to say it because I wanted to keep my peace, but it couldn't get peaceful until I said it. Sometimes saying something is what brings peace because then you don't have to fight that battle anymore inside your head because you resolved it, right? But you have to be, it can be hard to be a judge of these things. It can, okay? But I'm a God fearing woman. And I really encourage all of you out there, ask your father in that moment, in your heart, be like, is it good that I want to say this? I feel like I need to say this. Let me know if this is not a good time or if this is not good to say at all. And then go with your feeling or whatever, right? So you have the power of God and angels at your disposal. That is what God wants to help us. We just have to ask. He's just waiting for us to ask. So ask, and you shall receive. Okay. There are so many things I'm like, I want to say this, but it wasn't supposed to say this. Or maybe you're supposed to say it, but not in the way that it's coming to you emotionally and frustratingly. You know what I mean? So don't say the thing that destroys your peace. But sometimes say the thing that helps bring about more and better peace later, if that makes sense, right? Okay. So, for example, the situation I said about my friend and her husband coming down and saying this, my friend was not petty at all. She is not. She has zero petty inside of her. It does not exist. I'm sure there's a little bit exist in all. We're all human, right? But this is not something she struggles with at all. So when her husband came down and said this comment, she was not in the mode of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to strangle him. She was in the mode of like, no, I am totally allotted to clean this way. He's not doing it. This is not something he normally does. He does other stuff, but this is not something he does. This is the thing that is solely mostly my responsibility, and I get to do it the way that I want to. And so to have him come and critique, you know what I mean? Like have someone come and critique you about something that they themselves do not do all that often or at all is like, wait a minute, no. You know what I mean? So she was in the mode of like, I really love my husband and I really respect him, but this I'm not going to let him continue to do type of thing, right? Okay, so what she said was perfect. She's just like, appreciate your advice. That's nice. And if you don't like the way that I do it, you were welcome to do it yourself, right? She wasn't petty. She wasn't being mean. She was just being straightforward. And that's the way it was. And you know what? He walked away. It's like, nope, we're good here. You continue on. And it's like, good. There you go. Because sometimes that's necessary because otherwise you're going to always get you're still not taking my advice, even though who are you to give advice on this? But then it is good on the other hand of it, just to put this plug in here to, consider what the person is saying, because sometimes people can see things, have foresight that we just don't see because we're so into what we're doing, right? And that little bit of like, hey, I see that this could be better over here for you and make your life a little easier. Don't let pride cover up how valuable that is, right? So I've used this example before. I'm trying to think of a different example that would ring with this better, but like when my husband would critique me on my music abilities, which were very sad, by the way, because I didn't just blow him off and actually followed his advice, I got really good at singing. And I'm so stoked about this to this day, right? Yes, my first emotion was like, how dare you? I'm just having fun. Leave me alone, right? But I didn't allow my pride to cover up the value, to cloud the value that was in the advice he was giving me, right? Of course, he's a singer-songwriter, so he actually knew what he was talking about, right? But then there has been times where someone has come in, they don't know, like people that haven't been mothers before, and they're seeing me struggle, like, I see if you do this, it might actually be easier. And my pride would be like, you don't have kids, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't talk to me, right? But then I really ponder and I'm like, maybe. And then I try it and I'm like, oh man, they were right. They were so right. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm in the middle of a project. Okay. Sorry, I got to check my time here. I'm in the middle of a project and, my darling husband comes in and says, if you do it this way, it's easier. And I'm just like, oh, I know how to do this. Right. And I'm just like so irritated. But then I'm doing it my way. It's not quite working out the way I want it to. So I'm like, okay, let's take his advice. Let's see how it goes. And oh my heavens, it was a million times better when I was done with the project, even though it felt like it was more complicated his way. It was actually a saver because in the end, when I was done with the project, it was beautiful. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, for instance, I built my own kitchen table out of scrap wood. It is the gorgeous table. And the only reason why it is gorgeous, yes, I had the idea. Yes, I did most of the work and all that. But the only reason why it is so gorgeous is because my husband was like, "You need to really sand the wood." And he's just like, "We need the legs. Let's do the legs like this." Because I was going to do these boxy leg things because it was going to be easy. He's like, "No, I really think we should do this. And in order to make it stronger, let's do this and this." And at first, I was just like, "No, I don't want to do it that way. It takes it complicated." But now it's the most sturdy, beautiful table. And I love it so much. And I'm so glad I didn't allow pride to cloud his beautiful insights. So, and also different situation. So there was once my husband was doing something, and most people in their lives, and I think especially men, don't like to be told to go a different direction when they're already in the middle of it. So I waited for the right time because, 16 years of marriage will do that to you. And be like, this is not the time to say it. I'll wait. So I waited for that right moment. I'm like, if you tried it this way, it might actually be easier. But, I could be wrong. It's a bad idea. And then I walk away. He did it. It worked perfectly. First try. He's like, oh my gosh, thank you for saying that. Right now, he could have been like, don't tell me. I'm already in process, blah, 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 blah. And it would have taken him so much longer. But because I had an outside view of it, then because I was not emotionally involved in the project. We can get so clouded when we're emotionally involved in projects, in mothering, and all these things. And when someone comes in with this little bit of advice, at first you might be like, oh, so you're saying I'm failing and I'm doing it wrong, la, 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 right? Those emotions are going to come up, and that's okay. Totally normal, especially during your period, especially during your period, especially during certain cycles of your period, during premenopause. Oh my goodness, yes, and menopause, all of those, it is going to mess with you. But if you make the connection, I'm going through premenopause right now, I'm going through my period plus, right? Then you can say, okay, I don't have to buy into this emotion. Swipe. I choose peace. And don't say the thing that's going to destroy your peace, right? Don't allow pride to cloud and destroy your peace. Okay? I hope this is helpful to anyone. I got to take off. Got my girls to go to gymnastics. We're human here. Yeah, I'm already leaving later than I should. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope this helped anyone. So, yes, keep the peace going. Keep the peace going. Think about it before you say it. Allow yourself to feel the emotion that first comes up. Swipe it to the right or to the left, whatever your brain functions, whichever way swipes it away. And when you're swiping it, imagine that the peace sign comes in place. Okay? Choose peace. All right. Love you all. Have a great day and adios.